Today we're going to go through the process of installing a tree. I am by no means an expert. This is just what's worked for me over the years installing these deciduous trees. First things first, we want to mark our hole. I've gone ahead and measured the distance that I need from my other trees. So that tree there and this tree here, I measured 19 feet, tore out the grass, mark the hole with orange paint, and then we're going to go ahead and drill our hole.
Whether you dig the hole by hand or with a piece of equipment, the fact remains the same. This is the first and most critical step in establishing the tree. I like to dig the hole at least a foot wider on all sides and deeper than the original root ball. In my view, we want that root system to establish itself in some loose soil before it hits that hard, compacted soil.
So we drilled our hole. That's a 30-inch bit. The bit you choose to use, or if you do it by hand, certainly your choice. It's the bit I have that works well for me. We got a nice deep hole. This is much deeper than I need to go, as measured by the base of the tree pot here. So I'm going to go ahead and stomp down some of the dirt, actually bring some of the dirt back into the hole. And then it'll have, what I would call like a loose base to work from versus having to push the root system through that heavy base right away when it starts to acclimate to the new soil. Plenty deep this hole. Pull the dirt in, which is, of all the tasks in planting the tree, this is one of the most physical parts, is just pulling the dirt in. I suppose if you hand dug it, you wouldn't have the dirt flying all over like I do with the bit. But it all works out pretty well, I guess. So let's check our depth. I'm guessing we're still considerably too deep. Level it out in the bottom of the hole. We don't want the root ball to break up, so we kind of got to be careful with it. Shoot for putting the base of the tree in the middle of the hole, because that's what we measured. That was where our middle of our bit was. Check for leaning. You can obviously pull it some with the tie down, but we want it as kind of straight as we can get when we start here, so might as well pack it down because it's going to settle otherwise. And the key, I think, with these root balls is to really get them packed in good and take the time to do that. This tree has enjoyed being in its little containment since it started. Okay, then we'll just go around and hold on to it, bring some dirt in, pack. You really want to be particular before you plant. You can cut your grass really short where you're planting. That would help with this process where you're pulling in that soil. A couple rains or sprinkler sessions and you won't even know that you have that dirt on the ground, but excess dirt. Good dirt. I like to build kind of like a little berm, being mindful that the ball on the tree is not buried. So when we get rain, I guess in theory, it'll pool and sit there a little longer. We will mulch this, so that will help retain moisture too, but we'll get our trusty little ring. The ring is marked where I want my posts with the orange spray paint. I try to think of northwest wind, which is what I would believe to be this direction, is prevailing in the winter. Southwest, which is the most damage in the summer. So I start that way, and I just eyeball it. Distance from the tree. Put in ear protection, glasses. Face the post to the outside. Try to get them straight to the tree. Makes the fence flow a little easier. That is certainly the most physical part of the job. Get some zip ties. Take off our ring. And actually, we gotta secure it first. Gotta remember the steps here. Kind of analyze where, what direction the tree might need to go a little bit if you gotta help it. And then ultimately where you can put these, because we don't want to be pulling and making a problem with any branches. So here in this case, lots of good space on the main trunk of the tree. I'm just using regular old paracord is what I think of it as. Try to pull my knots tight, because you'll be surprised how they work loose in a wind. And then I give myself lots of extra. Try to get it at the same height. Pull it a little bit if need be. Wrap it around multiple times. And then I just have a way that I loop it underneath and back through for my knot. And then I do that twice. Now remember, you're going to have to make adjustments potentially once the fence is up. So the way I've done it, that seems to be the best way to be able to get at the knots later. You're going to use a lot of paracord when you do these trees, but I guess it's a pretty inexpensive way to protect your trees, because remember, these supports will be up for, my understanding at least, is a minimum of 2 years. So I put edging around these for two purposes. One, primary purpose to hold in the mulch, and two, for trimming. So when I come along with the trimmer, I'm just hitting against this plastic versus the fence that we're going to put up here in the next step. You certainly wouldn't need to. You could just mulch and let the mulch kind of pour out into the lawn and mow around it. But I do have to fence it because of the deer population and the damage that they cause. So it just seems logical to run this edge in. Now this is edging that you would use in a lawn. It's where I got this. I took it out when we repurposed it. So generally you would bury this in. I'm just electing to have it above ground. I will stake it in to hold it for support, to keep the joint together. But it will be above ground, and then it's going to hold that 2-3 inches of mulch, which keeps all kind of moisture at the base of this tree right here. So this is a new roll. Like I said, it's easier if you have a partner, but you just kind of got to go slow. Hope that your one edge will stay caught. The sooner we can get some zip ties on, the better. I like to use 3 on each post. And I don't go all the way to the top, you know, so somewhere about 6-8 inches down. Now there's intention to how I'm doing the zip tie. I'm not just pulling around the vertical, I'm pulling around the vertical and the horizontal, which should keep it in shape, or should keep it secure. So I'm kind of doing a diagonal, I guess, if you will, at an angle. So just a quick recap on what I do here. I dig the hole, a 30-inch bit, put the tree in, get it in the middle of the hole so it's right distance from my other 2 trees, so my measurements hopefully stay and everything looks uniform. So I get the tree in, pack it in, try to get it as straight as I can. That's always important, so it grows straight, right? So get the dirt cleaned up, then I lay that, we'll call it that hula hoop out, and I marked on there in orange paint where I want my stakes. So I lay my stakes out, I measure 24 inches from the base of the tree. That's just kind of a good general rule of thumb. In my estimation then, as this tree grows up, hopefully there'll be enough distance between the fence and the tree as it grows up to not have the branches getting into the tree, or getting into the fence, sorry. So get the stakes in, then I put the edging around. That's just old edging that I had around the building before we did the concrete curbing. So I kept it, I didn't get rid of it, and you know, sometimes it's good to keep things. So I put that in, stake it down, then I tie the tree off. You saw me do that all 3 places. I generally take priority with this stake. This is your north-northwest winter winds. Then this stake is a priority for me. Sorry, north-northwest is here, that's south. And then the one on the other side is east, which we don't get a lot of east heavy prevailing winds. So get it staked, get it secure. Then I bring the fence up, put the fence all around. I take the cable ties and I do 4 of them on a side. Get that in place, get the fence nice and tight. Then I put in the mulch. The more mulch you have, the better, because then it helps hold moisture. So each one of these trees that I put in this year, you can see the mulch is already starting to brown, but it's good and heavy underneath there. I wonder if I could get an example. Looks like I hit that with the mower. So let me just dig in here a little bit and show you. Well, maybe not as much as I thought. Yeah, I mean, you can see it's there. You can see it's sticking to my fingers. Hopefully you guys can see that. So that means it's pretty well moist underneath there. So that mulch helps hold that moisture. Put the mulch in, close the door, cable tie, zip it up, and we're done. But it takes a while, at least an hour each tree.